Could Lara Trump join the Republican Party in politics? Tom Tillis has announced that he's not, after getting his butt kicked by Trump, has announced that he's not going to run in North Carolina. That opens the door up to a Lara Trump. I'll go over the whole fallout, why this happens, why Lara Trump would be perfect for the Carolinas. That's her home state. Here's the news on the big, beautiful bill.
We have some breaking news here from Tom Tillis, the Republican senator from North Carolina. He has just announced that he is not going to seek re-election in 2026. I'll just read you part of his statement here. He says it underscores the greatest form of hypocrisy in American politics. When people see independent thinking on the other side, they cheer. But those same people see independent thinking as coming from their side. They scorn, they ostracize, and even censure them. Now, I should note that Tom Tillis yesterday, he put out a statement and was one of the two Republican no's against proceeding to the big, beautiful bill. And you had President Trump absolutely torch him twice last night. There was one very long statement on Truth Social where he said, you know, he's grandstanding, argued that he wasn't really, you know, helping the people of North Carolina. And then a little bit later,
I'll let the people of North Carolina, if you're in my audience right now, or even if you're out of North Carolina, do you think North Carolina voted on November 4th to oppose Trump's big, beautiful bill and support Tom Tillis? Which side do you think they're going to take on this? Of course they supported Trump. Let me know in the chat below if you think that North Carolina is super loyal to Tom Tillis. This is why he stepped down, made a big error on this one.
President Trump put out another statement saying he was going to be talking to people in the coming days about trying to engineer some sort of a primary challenge against Senator Tillis. And I'll just read you the tail end of the statement here. He says, I still look forward to continuing to serve North Carolina over the next 18 months. I look forward to having pure freedom as I call the balls and strikes I see fit, representing the great people of North Carolina to the best of my ability. Now this also demonstrates a little bit of a trend where you've had some people who are willing on the...
Okay, so now what we have is we have a Tom Tillis who's like a lame duck. He's got 18 months to throw trash at Donald Trump from North Carolina. I think you guys should run an impeachment. You should get him out of office. Here's some of Trump's tweets against Tom Tillis that they mentioned in the article. Numerous people have come forward wanting to run in the primary against Senator Tom Tillis. I will be meeting with them over the coming weeks, looking for someone who will properly represent the great people of North Carolina and, so importantly, the United States of America. Thank you for your attention on this matter. Who could be running? Lara Trump, according to The Hill. This just came out today. Lara Trump considers Senate bid in North Carolina to replace Tom Tillis. Good move. That would be a definite trade-up. Lara Trump is a North Carolina native, so she's not a carpetbagger, guys. This is her land that she needs to go save. And Trump is talking to all the candidates, so he'll be talking to Lara Trump if she wants to primary, if she wants to get in there in North Carolina, who graduated from North Carolina State University. She was previously floated as a potential Senate candidate when former Senator Richard Burr, RNC, retired. She opted not to launch a campaign for the seat, but left the door open to a future run for office. She served as a co-chair of the RNC during the winning 2024 campaign with a focus on fundraising efforts. And she did great, guys. I had my doubts about her because that is a huge executive, powerful position, and she performed and did great. She stepped down from that position and earlier this year began hosting a weekend show on Fox News, which is also great for branding and great for publicity and getting the word out. She's kept her face in front of the public, which is important if you're running for office. The network did not respond to a request for comment about her potential Senate bid. Tillis's stunning announcement came after he said he would oppose the president's mammoth tax package. The North Carolina Senate seat was widely considered the toughest for the GOP to defend next year. This one is going to be really hard, guys. And we've got guys, and Michael Whatley is another one of the names, boo, who's Tom Tillis's man. I'm against him already. He could be a front runner. We'll see. I want to hear if you guys know anything about Michael Whatley. But this is a tough one to defend. I think Lara Trump has the size and power to possibly defend this seat. Welcome to Doug in Exile. We're going over the politics of the Senate. And who will replace Tom Tillis? And could Lara Trump do it? Here's more on those tweets where Trump smashes Tom Tillis. Tom Tillis has hurt the great people of North Carolina, even on the catastrophic flooding. Nothing was done to help until I took office. Then a miracle took place. Tillis is a talker and a complainer, not a doer. He's even worse than Rand, Fauci, Paul. Trump going after Rand Paul also. Now, here's Tom Tillis is a corrupt grifter who is more Democrat than he is Republican. His failing Liberty score. This is based on many of their freedom of speech, freedom, First Amendment, Second Amendment, right to bear arms stuff. He got an F, a 49% score. Kick this bum out. And then here's Tom Tillis lecturing Trump from the floor. And this is a video that a Democrat cut together on him insulting Trump. But this is why he's on his way out. And I'll show you why all of the complaints of these fiscal hawks saying that you're going to add $5 trillion to the debt. In the next clip, I'll show you how this could all be proven wrong. Watch this.
I am not here to obey Trump's orders, nor am I here to clean up the beautiful bill. I want to make it clear to the American people that Trump's so-called a great and beautiful bill is not reform, it is betrayal. This bill will cut over $26 billion in medical subsidies over the next decade.
But hold on, just to clarify that, the billions of dollars that are cut, much of it waste, fraud, and abuse, but also if you're an able-bodied working person, though you're poor, if you're able-bodied and working, they will make you work for your money instead of pay for your medical instead of Medicaid.
Resulting in 11.8 million people nationwide losing their health insurance, with 660,000 people in North Carolina alone being ruthlessly deprived of coverage. This is not an exaggeration, but a cold fact. Although some people claim that no one will lose their medical insurance because of this, this is fundamentally untrue. Medical subsidies are a guarantee for the survival of many elderly, disabled, and low-income families, and reducing funding is cutting off their lifeline. Even worse, this bill will cause the federal debt to surge by $3.3 trillion over the next decade, which completely violates the so-called conservative fiscal principles. Faced with opposition voices, I am threatened that if I do not support it, I will be eliminated from the party's primary election. I choose not to be reelected and do not want to become a sacrifice for a political loyalty test. I speak to protect ordinary Americans, because if I don't speak, no one will speak for them.
Okay, don't let the door hit you or the good Lord split you. Trump has a mandate on this bill. They had to move some numbers around. We're going to find out who gets kicked off of Medicaid and who doesn't. But I think actually Medicaid would go insolvent if this bill doesn't go through, and there will be future protections on it. One of the protections is the money coming in is going to be so great because of Trump's fiscal policies that it might help pay for the Medicaid problem. Here's NEC Director Kevin Hasset on the One Big Beautiful Bill. If we get 3% growth instead of 1.8% growth. This is because of Trump's fiscal policy. You could end up getting a $4 trillion revenue boost that would offset the $3.3 trillion raising of the deficit. Here he is to explain.
CBO says that the Senate bill increases the deficit by $3.3 trillion from 2025 to 2034, and that is $1 trillion more than the House bill. There were already concerns about the deficit in this bill. Do you disagree with those numbers?
Oh, I 100% disagree with those numbers. You remember that in the House bill, there were a bunch of things that were temporary, that were there for the first 4 or 5 years, but then looked like they raised money in the out years. But of course, a big tax hike in the 5th year is going to cause a recession and reduce growth and increase the deficit. The number that I think is the best number to think about when you're looking at that $3.3 trillion is that if we get 3% growth instead of 1.8% growth out of this bill, bill, then that adds $4 trillion to revenue, which means that this thing is a big deficit reducer.
That's just on one bill. On one bill, if this goes through, you could gain $4 trillion to offset the $3.3 trillion cost. That's just on this one bill, assuming they don't do more cuts or do more tariffs or do more things that help the economy, because we're bringing in so much money on Trump's fiscal policy. That's one way that you reduce inflation, is you increase real products, real jobs, real middle class growth. So all of those budget oversight committees looking at how much money this bill's going to cost, all their numbers could be off if America becomes a bigger economic engine and we grow that GDP, which looks like it's happening. If we can grow GDP instead of 1.8%, he's saying up to 3%. I think it could go up to 4%. You'd easily pay for this increase, and you could even start paying down the debt.
This is the biggest spending cut in history, the biggest tax cut in history, and with a little bit of growth, it's going to be incredibly positive for the budget. And finally, don't forget, this isn't the only bite of the apple, that we've got lots of discretionary spending that we're planning to send up to the Senate to rescind. Russ Vogt, the OMB director, suggests that maybe that's going to amount to about $160 billion this year. If you get the $160 billion of rescissions, then multiply that by 10 to think about what the deficit impact is.
1 point whatever billion times 10 is 1 point something trillion if you let it go for 10 years. So there's all of this is like fungible money. They're throwing numbers around and debt. That's the bottom line in defense of Thomas Massie and Rand Paul, that they say is they go, look, if you save money, the government just over time is going to spend it. So they're still saying like one thing that no one will do is pay down that debt, because when you have extra money, you pay for more tax cuts or you pay for more benefits and giveaways, no tax on tips. We're going to expand the military. You just end up paying for more because Americans do not like the cost of having money come in, then you just pay down the debt where no one sees it. But that has to happen. So that's in defense of the fiscal hawks. I just don't think it's time to do it on this bill. Give Trump his big, beautiful bill. And then we'll go back in and talk about more cuts, more reduction of waste, fraud, and abuse, and more money that we can grow the economy with under Trump's fiscal plan with some of these guys, Scott Bessent and Hasset and all these guys that have really good ideas that I think are going to work, including rebuilding America's manufacturing. What do you guys think? Do you believe it? Is the big, beautiful bill going to raise $3 trillion over 10 years, the debt, or $5 trillion? Some are saying, I'm Doug in Exile.